Today, Ukraine has fallen victim to this arrogant policy. The situation there has revealed the remaining deep-rooted systemic flaws of the existing architecture in the Euro-Atlantic area. The West has embarked on a course towards vertical structuring of humanity tailored to its own far from inoffensive standards. The US and the EU supported the coup d'etat in Ukraine and reverted to outright justification of any acts by the self-proclaimed Kiev authorities that opted for suppression by force of the part of the Ukrainian people which had rejected attempts to impose throughout the country an anti-constitutional order and wanted to defend its rights to its native language, culture, and history. It is precisely the aggressive assault on these rights that compelled the population of Crimea to take its destiny into its own hands and make a choice in favor of self-determination. This was an absolutely free choice, no matter what was invented by those who are primarily responsible for the internal conflict in Ukraine. Despite UN Security Council Resolution 2166, a thorough and independent investigation of the circumstances of the loss of the Malaysian airline over the territory of Ukraine has been drawn out. The perpetrators of all of these crimes must be identified and brought to justice. Otherwise, it will be difficult to count on national reconciliation occurring in Ukraine. Russia is sincerely interested in the restoration of peace in this neighboring country, and this should be well understood by all who are even slightly acquainted with the history of the deep-rooted and fraternal ties between these two peoples. We are convinced that with goodwill and the refusal to support the party of war in Kiev, which is trying to push the Ukrainian people into the abyss of national catastrophe, Russia is prepared to continue to actively promote the political settlement under the well-known Minsk process as well as other formats. However, it should be crystal clear that we are doing this for the sake of peace, tranquility, and the well-being of the Ukrainian people, rather than to appease someone's ambitions. Attempts to put pressure on Russia and to compel it to abandon its values, truth, and justice have no prospects whatsoever for success. The time has come to completely exclude from international interactions attempts to exert illegitimate pressure by some states on others. The senselessness and counterproductive nature of unilateral sanctions is obvious if we look at the example of the U.S. blockade of Cuba. The policy of ultimatums and the philosophy of supremacy and domination do not meet the requirements of the 21st century and run counter to the objective process of developing a polycentric and democratic world order. Russia is promoting a positive and unifying agenda. We always were and will continue to be open to discussion of the most complex issues, no matter how unsolvable they may seem to be in the beginning. We will be prepared to search for compromises and a balance of interests, and even to exchange concessions, but only if the discussion will be truly respectful and equitable.